Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to the module today where we'll be starting with a introduction to transportation. My name is Oluwaseyi Ajayi, and there is no way we can go into the concept of transportation engineering without having a good understanding of what transportation is all about. And here we're going to be looking at the definition, the importance of transportation. We're going to be looking at the history of transportation. We're going to be also looking at the mode of transportation and some other concepts in this module. Let's go. Here we have the definition of transportation. We know transportation involves the movement of people, goods, animals from one location to another. It just not involves that alone. It involves the use of various vehicles, infrastructures, and systems to facilitate travel or delivery of goods across different distances. Because there are different locations, there are different distances when it comes to transportation. But the ability to facilitate that, taking into consideration the vehicles, the infrastructure, and the system in order to make this efficient. Now, transportation is a critical part of our human civilization. We can't do without it. It has become our day-to-day run to in every of our daily activities, enabling connectivity, trade, and access to resources. And here we have some of the importance of transportation. We said it facilitates trade and commerce, and one important part of it is economic development. Economic development, where we have the trade and commerce. Transportation allows goods to be moved efficiently and promoting trade both locally and internationally. It enables businesses to access raw materials, markets, and suppliers, which boost economic growth. Another field we can say as an important part of transportation is job creation. We have a whole lot of people out there who are into the transport business as a result of transportation, be it by air, by land, by water, in which we're still going to be talking at under the mode of transportation in this module. So we also have what we call the social interaction and cultural exchanges, and also what we call the social connectivity, that is access to services, and for the cultural exchanges, it fosters cultural exchange and tourism, connecting people from different regions and promoting understanding between diverse communities. There are some people who only people in a particular country have a knowledge of what they do or the kind of cultural understanding of their country, but transportation has enabled people to move from their own comfort zone of their country going to another country in order to have a good understanding and cultural exchange through tourism, through visitations, in order to have a good understanding of other people's cultures and diverse communities. And this is one of the means of economic growth and development for some countries, where they use this as a means of tourism in order to earn a certain money for the daily activities of their country. Now, another thing is mobility and freedom. Yes, that is also another important part of transportation. We have the urbanization and infrastructural development, which is very important because as city grows, efficient transportation system, the need for public transit, the roads, and the rail networks are very essential for maintaining mobility within urban areas. Another reason or another importance of transportation is globalization. We also have emergency and humanitarian relief because transportation has proven to be a vital time in times of crisis, whether for evacuating people during natural disasters or delivering humanitarian aid to affected regions. All these things are made possible as a result of transportation. So now, like I said, we have a good understanding about what transportation is. So we now go into what we call transportation engineering. And transportation engineering is said to be a branch of engineering. We have different branches in engineering because under engineering, we have civil engineering. So it is under civil engineering, we have transportation engineering. So, and it's a branch of engineering that focuses on design, planning, operation, and management of transportation facilities. It shows that there are a lot of things that makes up a transportation system And the incorporation of all these things, which involve the planning, the design, and the operation and the management of this, is what transportation engineering is all about. The field aims to make transportation efficient, sustainable, and safe for users. Because one of the biggest concern when it comes to transportation is the safety. When a system or a transportation system is not safe, then the researchers there is a whole lot of need to look into various mediums in order to make it much more efficient and much more safe for users or for the users or the customers. So it is quite important for a transportation system or the engineering works to be safe while also reducing the negative impact on the environment and society. When we're talking about the negative impact on the environment and society, it can also be as a result of the emission of the carbon monoxide. These are being developed. A lot of researchers are coming every day in order to make sure to reduce the negative impact on the environment and the community. Now, the primary areas that transportation engineering focus on is what we have transportation planning, which we have traffic forecasting, land use planning, public transportation planning. We also have what we call the traffic engineering. We have the highway and road design. We have transportation system management, which we call the TSM. We have the sustainable and environmental impact. Here we talk about the noise and the pollution control. Then we have the pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure. We have the rail and aviation engineering. We have smart mobility. All these are what makes up transportation and engineering and a whole lot of other aspects in it. So, like I said, in transportation engineering, there is different systems. These systems coming together are what makes transportation engineering. And here, the first point we have here is the infrastructure. What are we talking about when we say the infrastructure? Here, we're talking about the railway. These are what makes up the infrastructure. We have the airports, we have the roads, we have the bridges, and we have the seaports. These are some of the examples of infrastructure in the transportation system. Then we have the vehicles. Yeah, this we are very much conversant with. Here we talk about we have the cars, we have the bus, we have the train, we have the plane, we have the ship, we have the boat, etc. Then under the facilities, here we're talking about the support system, like the bus station, like the train station, these are what we call the facilities in a transportation system. Also, we have the operation. Here is where we have the management and policies like the traffic control and logistics. Then the users, when we say the users, they're also part of the transportation system because when there is no user, the transportation system is not complete. So here we have the individuals, organizations that rely on the transportation system for use. These are who we regard as the users. So here we are going to have a good look at the historical overview of transportation because over time transportation has evolved through history. So we are going to be having a good understanding of what the historical overview of transportation is all about, just giving a little idea of what it is. So we have the ancient transportation. Ancient transportation, even before we go into the ancient transportation, which is just like a general view, the first form of transportation known to humankind, in which it's from the inception, where we can say from the time of Adam, is what we call walking, which is under the land transportation, we call the walking, you know. The moment man was made or the existence of man understands that he needs to walk from one place to the other, and that means it is through their foot they're able to transport or move themselves from one point to the other. I remember growing up as youth in my community or in my country. So when a young man wants to take a young lady for a date and maybe he's still trying to aspire to be someone or he doesn't the person or the guy does not have a car, he doesn't have a means of transportation, and maybe the friends decide to ask him, how is it going to be possible for you to take this girl on a date? So what most of the time what we tend to say is, well, I have my foot hygiene. You know, I have my foot hygiene. I'll take her with my foot hygiene. Everybody will know what Volkswagen. Volkswagen is a car, but so instead of having it as Volkswagen is a car, we say Volkswagen, which shows that I will have to use my legs to transport myself to wherever the place is where the whole thing will be happening. So that is it. That is just on a lighter note, just telling us that the first form of transportation is by walking, which is by foot, and also domesticated animals, the horses, the camels, and the cats. Here we have the rats and the canoes also. The early humans used simple rafts and dughout canoes to travel across rivers and lakes. Then we have the sledges and the skis also. These are some of the Haitian transportation means. Then we have under the Haitian civilization, we also have the wheels and the carts, which is also later into the development of it. We have ships and sailings, we have animal power, in which we've also talked about, and we have the horseback riding, carriage, Viking ships. These are some of the Haitian transportation means. And here you can see from the first picture, walking, you can see the use of horses, you can see here the use of camels and horses as a means of transportation, which was common in ancient transportation. Here we also have the early development through the use of wheels, the sailboats, domestication of horses, which I have also explained earlier. Then moving into we have what we call the transportation in the Industrial Revolution. In the Industrial Revolution, at this point, this is the 18th and the 19th century. Here there is much more understanding. There has been a lot of development in the field of transportation, even when they are not in sense of what we have in our current world. We have the introduction of the railroads, the steam engine revolutionized transportation. We have the steamships, we have the automobiles, we have the airplanes. We know this was powered by the Wright brothers, and these are what we can say to be the transportation in the Industrial Revolution, leading leading to the 20th century. So the 20th century, that means there is now on in the automobile there is now a mass production of cars by the popular man who did more of this, that is Henry Ford, who made automobiles more affordable and accessible to the general public. Then we also have the planes, we have the subways, we have the trains, we have the buses, we have the trams. All these came into being in the 20th century, leading to the 20th to the 21st century. And when we're talking about or going into the 21st century when it comes to this, in the 21st century there has been the development of high-speed rail, which is very common in Japan, which is common in China. We have the automated vehicles or the automated means of transportation, which we call the electric cars, self-driving vehicles, and alternative transportation like the scooters, like the e-bikes, and also, we have what we call the space travel now, where it's quite popular when it comes to the NASA and the SpaceX. So these are just to tell us the just to show us the development of transportation from a point to what we have now. And the future of transportation, there is no way we still have a future for transportation. Here we have the electric vehicles, we call them the EVs. As concerns over climatic change rights, EVs and renewable energy sources are shaping the future of personal and commercial transport, which is quite very important. And the EVs, we have the autonomous vehicles, which I said earlier, which are the self-driving cars. We have the drones, we have trucks, we have that. All these things are expected to transform personal transport and logistics. There was lately I saw an advert, even when I really don't know if it has been effective yet, or probably it is now something that has been commercialized on a big scale, where a particular individual ordered for a product, and you could see the drone leaving the facility close to where the individual was, picking up the package, and the package was being transported through the use of a drone to the individual's house and to deliver the package. So these are some of the possible futures of transportation. So rather than we having dispatch using their vehicles, using their trucks, using their bicycles to deliver. There is a future of transportation where even the use of drones can also help to accomplish this. We have high-speed ground transportation. So we move to the next aspect, which is the mode of transportation. So for the mode of transportation, we know it can be broadly categorized based on the medium through which people or goods travel. And the primary mode of transportation we have the land transportation, we have the water transportation, we have the air transportation, we have the pipeline transportation. But due to the emergence of travels to space, now we have what we call the space transportation. So we are going to be looking into each of this mode of transportation one after the other, just a brief introduction into it. So for the land transportation, we know the land transportation is the most common form of land transport and involves vehicles, cars, trucks, buses, motorcycles traveling on the road, and the road design and construction of highway is street. We also have the rail, and these are used the personal vehicles, we have the cars, the motorcycles, the public transit, we have the bus, we have the subway, we have the trams, then we have cycling and walking. So these are under land transportation. And the first aspect under the land transportation is to talk about the road. We have the rail transportation as an example under the land transportation. Then we move to the next point, which is the water transportation. This involves the use of ships, boats to transport people or goods across oceans, seas, and rivers. It is particularly important for international trade. That is very important. It is important for international trade. Yes, it is used within countries, yes, but most importantly, it is used for international trade. And for the water transportation, yeah, some of the facilities and things we use. We have the cargo ships, we have the fishing boats, we have what we call the cruise ship, and we also have other forms, whether used for short distance or long distance. Then we have the air transportation. It involves the movement of passengers or freight using aircraft such as airplanes and helicopters. We have the commercial flights, which is used for long distance, as has been said in the PowerPoint. Then we also have the private aviation, talking about the business jets, the private planes, the private jets. Yes. So then the fourth type of for some people they categorize air transportation and space transportation as one, but some others they decide to separate it, like air transportation is different from space transportation. But similarly, space transportation involves the movement of spacecraft used for exploration or transport beyond Earth's atmosphere, typically involving advanced technology. Yeah, we said this earlier in the presentation. We have the NASA's, we have the SpaceX and private companies' missions. Maybe they travel to Mars and through the use of satellite astronauts and other forms of technology to make this happen. Then we have the pipeline. The pipeline transport. This involves the transportation of liquid and gas, such as oil, natural gas, and water through pipes. In my country, some of these pipes or these pipelines are underground, while some are on the earth's surface. So yes, it has its own advantage and disadvantage, in which we're not going to be going to in this presentation. But in most cases, we decide to keep most of these things underground due to um, a case of preventing bulkering. Bunkering is just a way whereby people tend to break pipelines either for petroleum in order to steal petrol or to steal any form of liquid they feel they are. It's quite important for their own personal self, and which is illegal in most of the time. So yes, some are on the surface of the earth and some are on the ground where we have the pipeline. So So here we have the conclusion to this, just an overview of what we've been talking about. like the evolution of transportation, the significance of transportation in our daily lives now and in our age, and future promises more sustainable, faster, and smarter mode of transportation. Even when the future for transportation still looks very much promising with the emergence of new technology, the introduction of artificial intelligence, there are still some challenges in transportation engineering. Challenges such as congestion, challenges with safety, because when it comes to transportation engineering as a field, it has to work towards perfection, towards safety, which is the protection of human lives, which is the most important part of any system or any engineering setup. So the safety is very much important. We have the environmental sustainability, we have the costing and the funding, the social equity. So these are some of the challenges, the possible challenges in transportation engineering that still need to be worked on over the years. Thank you, and I'll see you all in the next video.